Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on
And
Amazon
can you
Live.
can you hear him on your end?
Glad you all could join us once again. We're excited about our broadcast for today. We're excited to welcome Tony Weaver Jr. to our broadcast today. He's celebrating the release of his brand new book. You guys can see it there, Weirdo. Here on Amazon, you all can get the paperback edition for $22.99. We have it highlighted in our carousel for you guys, or you can be able to get the Kindle edition as well. We're going to talk to Tony not only about the sharing of the book, but also what it's been like for him to share his own journey and remind people of what's possible. We are simulcasting our broadcast today, so we welcome those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. But Tony, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful for the support and the opportunity to tell more people my story.
Well, look, it is a powerful story, Tony, and I think it's one that so many people will relate to. How does it feel to now have the book available for the world to be able to read?
It is awe-inspiring for me, which sounds really, which can sound a little dramatic, but there is something poetic about the idea that for a significant part of my life, I didn't love who I was. And now I get the opportunity to help other people find that love for themselves much earlier than I did. There's something that feels like I'm walking in my purpose, like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And the book feels like a manifestation of that in a very profound way for me.
I've been noticing some of the videos you've done on Instagram. I want to say hello to those tuning in on Instagram. Two Feathers, hello to you. Kevin Taylor, hello to you as well. Mitch, hello to you over there on IG. All Sports Headgear, hello to you. And what I love about the videos you've done, Tony, in preparing for the book is that you've been able to not only share bits of your story, but also make a connection with your audience. How does that feel to know that you've been able to help people feel not so alone themselves?
It makes me feel like I'm doing something right. So often when people get on social media, things very often become about them. It's me, me, me. Come with me while I do this. Watch me while I do this. I did this interesting thing that I want you to be jealous of. But when I started talking about my story on social media, it was very important to me that I wasn't transactional and that I was very genuine with my audience. Like Weirdo is a book, but Weirdo is a book that represents an idea that you can be your full self and still be worthy of love, an idea that you can be your full self and still find community. And I kind of had to practice that idea first. I had to put it into the world that I could be my full self and still be able to find community and still make connection with people. And I think the success that I've had on social media, but also the success that Weirdo will have now that it's on shelves is a testament to that.
Exactly. Robbie Blue Music, hello to you over there on IG. Appreciate you joining us. I appreciate you guys also over here on Amazon. If you guys have any questions for Tony, feel free to be able to put those in. Tony, there are two things that really stood out to me in the book when I was reading it. One of them, I love the engagement with your friends. And I love that one part of the book where they felt like they had to dress a certain way, right, for you to be able to like them. And you basically said to them, I'm going to like you anyway because you're my friends, right? And there was another part of the book that, you know, when there was a sticky situation happening, I won't tell our audience what it is, where one of the students says, just because we're small doesn't mean we don't matter, that we're not important. How does it feel to know that you're helping people to be seen and to be seen as themselves, Tony?
It fills my heart with joy. One thing about Weirdo that I really love is that the stories in those pages are real. The only things that were altered for Weirdo was the age that I was and some of the circumstances. Some of the stories in Weirdo happened when I was in the 8th or the 9th grade, but we kind of kept it in the same grade to make sure that the narrative was clear. But otherwise, those stories are real stories. Those are things that actually happened to me. Those are conversations that actually happen amongst my friends. And to see kind of our chronicles brought to life in a way that can help other people on the journey that they're on, especially kids that are weird like we were. it just makes me really happy. I think that a graphic novel is a really great format to tell stories like this, but also to talk about these issues. One of my favorite chapters in Weirdo is one where kind of later in the book, and I'll take your cue. I won't spoil too much, but there are some conversations around what it means to be a man, what it means to be manly, how you're supposed to show up, like that kind of box that you get put in at a very early age. And I like critiquing that type of stuff, giving people the opportunity to think outside of those boxes.
I think one of the most powerful things that I didn't know about you, Tony, before reading the book, is that you and I have something in common. We're both suicide attempt survivors. And when you talk about that in the book, I think there's so many people, young boys, young girls, men and women, who will know what that feels like to think, you know what, maybe the world will be better without me. Wait, maybe I'll be better off not here. But being on the other side of that, I know what has been my experience is realizing all the things I would have missed out on and the opportunities I would have had to share with others. How does it feel for you now, Tony, to be on the other side of those feelings and to see the impact you've been able to make by being yourself?
Well, let me first say that I appreciate you sharing, and I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we get to have this conversation. It's a really powerful connection when you reflect on that shared experience that we have. Um, I think for me, I get really happy thinking about the experiences that I get to have because I made it to the other side of that darkness. When I go to anime conventions and I get to talk with people passionately about our favorite shows, when I get to take pictures with people, when I get to go and play trading cards with people, like I played the One Piece card game at Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. Um, but I think the experience that I relish the most because I'm still here is that I get to help kids that are having the same experiences. I think that being able to go to a young person that's in that dark place, that's struggling with that darkness, and say, hey, I understand that it feels like there's nothing on the other side of this right now. And I can't guarantee you that it will be easy or that the process will be quick. But what I can guarantee you that if you keep moving forward, there is something on the other side. There's something that you want. There's something that you're going to want to see. There are people that you don't even know yet that you're going to need to meet. This idea that life is abundant for all of us, yeah, is something that really resonates with me. And that's the thing that I'm most grateful for. The fact that I get to champion that in everything that I do.
And you're using your platform in such a big way, Tony. I want to say for those who are not following Tony on social, we're going to let him share with you all how you can do that. But one other video that stands out to me when I was prepping for your segment today, Tony, is the one where you talk about the danger in trying to keep books away from young people. And we've been having these conversations on this broadcast quite a bit, of course, with Amazon selling so many books.
Yeah.
Why has it been so important for you to make sure that young people, but also parents, librarians, know the importance of making books accessible to children, even if it may be difficult conversations that are being had?
Well, when I embarked on this journey to write Weirdo, one of the thoughts that came to my head were there aren't a lot of stories with Black kids. There aren't a lot of stories with Black nerdy kids. There aren't a lot of stories that are talking about the subject matter that I want to talk about. But me, I like to think that I don't have very much of an ego. So my thought wasn't, oh, I'm the first person to ever come up with this idea. I wondered, other people must have had this idea before. Why didn't it make it across the finish line? What was there that stopped the ideas for these stories from coming to fruition? And as I did my research and learned a bit more about this kind of cyclical issue that the publishing industry has in terms of not supporting Black authors, not supporting diverse stories, and also some of the systemic things around book bans where someone won't necessarily say, I don't support books by Black authors, but what they will say is, oh, this book where you talked about your experiences dealing with systemic discrimination actually made me really uncomfortable. And since it made me uncomfortable, I'm not going to allow it in my school, or I'm not going to allow it in my district, at which point a publisher goes, ooh, we got to be real careful on how much money we invest in a book like that because it's probably going to get banned in these places. At which point an editor may say, we really need a win right now, and this idea is really risky. Nobody overtly says, hey, I'm not going to support a Black story, but systemically, certain factors start to take place and create influence, and suddenly less than 10% of any published book is written by a Black author. I think that it's those systemic factors that we don't necessarily pay attention to that get us in situations like the ones that we're in right now, which makes me even more grateful for the fact that I get to write a book like Weirdo, more grateful for the fact that it's on the shelf, more grateful for the fact that my publisher is supporting me, that my editors love the story. It only takes one. Like it only takes one. For me, the author Jerry Craft, Jason Reynolds, they really took me under their wing very early on to make sure that this project happened. And I think that Weirdo is a book that's really carrying this torch for Black representation. That's hopefully going to create a positive impact on the readers, but also on the literature industry at large.
Such a great point. Jason Reynolds is a friend of the show, and yeah, he is talented storyteller himself, but you're right, he's a great champion for the written word and also diverse thoughts and stories, which is why I think it's so important, as you mentioned, Tony, to be able to have a book like this out. Again, everyone, we've been speaking with Tony Weaver Jr. He's the author of this book. You all can see it there, Weirdo, officially out today. So here on Amazon, you all can get, I'm going to highlight it for you guys again, for those joining us on the Amazon side. You'll see the paperback here is $22.99. Or you can be able to get the Kindle edition right now. One click it right now for $9.99. Tony, I know you're going to be out there meeting your readers, meeting your fans. I know you're excited about that. How can our viewers stay connected with you?
My social media tag is at Tony Weaver Jr. on all platforms. And if you are in Atlanta, DC, or New York City, I'll be popping up in your area pretty soon. This Wednesday at 6 p.m. In Atlanta at Brave and Kind Books, I'll be doing an event. On Saturday, September 28th, I'll be at Phantom Comics in Washington, D.C. And then on October 5th, I will be at Books of Wonder in New York. So if you're in Atlanta, DC, or New York City, then pop up and say hello. But I'm at Tony Weaver Jr. on all platforms.
So make sure you guys are staying connected with Tony. I've already posted my video review of the book on social. You guys can be able to find it there as well. Tony, congratulations to you again. Glad we had a chance to speak today and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm grateful for your support.
Hey, more than welcome. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Again, make sure you guys get your copy of Weirdo here on Amazon. Make sure you guys also are staying connected with Tony and the great things that he's doing. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb saying thank you so much for being with us for Cyrus Webb Presents. You all make it a great one. Take care.